AI and family law mediation with Thomas G. Giglione. That is our topic for today. Welcome to the Lawyers and Mediators International Show and Podcast, where we discuss law and conflict resolution topics to educate both professionals and everyday people. Catch regular episodes on YouTube and anywhere you get your podcasts. Just remember, nothing in these episodes constitutes legal advice, so be sure to talk to a lawyer, as cases are fact-dependent. Hey everyone, this is Mac Pierre-Louis, attorney, mediator, arbitrator, working throughout Florida and Texas.
I'm Giglione in Toronto, Canada, commercial and family law mediator.
Yes, and welcome back, Thomas. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year. Any new resolutions, Mac? Mine is I'm going to try to integrate AI into my mediation practice, and I'd like to talk a little bit how I'm going to be doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So my resolution is pretty similar. It's to make sure I use more tech and to help other people out there use it as well in their personal and professional lives, so we can, help each other grow. So let us know. I'm going to be sharing a screen, but tell us generally, Thomas, what you're working on now that might be able to help mediators out there.
Yeah, I've integrated some tools, simple tools into my website. One of the tools that I'd like to discuss a little bit is people don't really know the differences between the value of using a mediator versus using a court system. So I just created a tool that I've integrated. Is basically you could upload a schedule, let's say a court schedule, or you could upload some statutes, and you could feed AI some customized information, and you could ask questions on that specific information relating to your jurisdiction. So you could very customize it. So those are the two areas that I'm working on right now. And today I'd like to talk about how to use a simple browser. You don't need to subscribe to anything, and how to use a simple browser to integrate to use AI for beginners.
Yep, sounds great. And so, folks who might be watching this today, first recording of the year, by the way, we're going to be doing a short little talk about how to use AI in your law office, in your mediation practice, for lawyers and mediators on Saturday, January the 13th at 10 a.m. Central. You can always email team@LMIPodcast.com to get the Zoom link, but we'll be live chatting a little bit more about what we're going to talk about today. And so if you have questions or you're kind of a newbie to all of this AI revolution stuff, let us know. And so hope you see you there on Zoom. But Thomas, I'm sharing my screen, and as people may know, because you've already talked about this before, this is your website, WeAgreeMediators. And I'm going to the tool you just mentioned a second ago on your website, the link AI Mediator Tools, Comparison Calculator. And when I click on that, it takes me to a small dashboard over here, legal court system versus we agree mediation cost comparisons. Because Thomas, as we know, legal bills can get kind of high when people are going through a divorce or a custody battle in family law, right? Nobody likes to pay lawyers' bills. However, it's sometimes a necessity because you want to get your justice in court. And so if people go to mediation, they can save a little ton of money. But oftentimes, folks are not able to see visually just how much money they can save or what the cost comparison is when comparing the litigation track of a case versus the resolution track of the case. No guarantee you'll settle your case, of course, but if you do go to mediation, you take a chance in trying to sit down and talk things out through a mediator, you might save yourself a whole ton of money, both sides, right? So what I have on my screen is this um, cost comparison tool that's on your website. So take us through this. What does it show, and how do we use it?
Okay, Mac. I wanted to first of all explain that it's not really black and white where you're saying, okay, use mediation or use a lawyer. Ideally, for me, what it works best is you use both a mediator and a lawyer working hand in hand. So this
Mhm.
is just a cost comparison. It's based on a Canadian survey, I believe Canadian Lawyers Magazine. So it's a Canadian data. It's based on Canadian data based on that survey, and there's more information on the link below. So
Yeah,
basically, it has, this is specific for family law cases. It's a very simple tool I used. Basically it goes through whether your divorce is contested or uncontested, whether there's spousal support, whether division of assets and such. So Mac, maybe you just want to go through it
sure.
as a, let's say you
So
just want to use it. You could be a
yeah,
mediator,
so
you could, or the
let's
public can use it.
so let's say I'm a hypothetical potential, divorcing client, right?
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
I'm in the US, and I might use US dollars or Canadian dollars or even the
mm-hmm,
euro. So
mm-hmm.
I'll leave it at USD. And the question is your divorce or separation contested, or have you and your spouse agreed on all outstanding issues? So let me select it's a contested matter.
Yeah. So
And
that's the
then
first
go ahead.
step there. Yeah. So there,
Mhm.
if it's contested with no other issues, that is the price differential between you just going strictly to court versus using a mediator. So as you can see, it's a striking comparison.
Yes, and so you're getting the data from the Canadian Lawyers Magazine survey, which basically says that they have found that contested divorces average about $12,000 per party at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's per
Correct?
party. Hmm.
Okay, and then let's go to next. So next question is, does your divorce or separation involve spousal support? And of course, some people who are in Texas may know that we don't have spousal support anymore. We do have something called temporary spousal maintenance, which is similar. We have contractual alimony, of course, through mediation, but we all agree that this is always a deep, deep issue of conflict for many divorcing parties, no matter where you are around the world, whether or not one spouse is going to pay their ex spouse money for a certain period of time. So, does your divorce or separation involve spousal support? I'll say yes.
So this
Okay.
is an added amount, dollar amount. So this is based on uh, the survey, and I actually think it's quite low, but
Mhm.
it's based on the figure of 12,000. This is per party, so you could see it adds about an extra $1,000 per party, so it's about an extra $2,000 to the whole process.
Okay. I'm going to hit next. Does your separation or divorce involve child custody and parental visitation scheduling? Yes or no? I put yes, and I'll put hypothetical 2 kids. Next. Okay.
And you can see it adds quite a bit because it also includes scheduling and scheduling for visitation is very time consuming, going back and forth. So you can see, uh, lawyers really don't generally like to get into that, and so that's the reason why there's more cost savings in that aspect.
Yeah, and this one's always a big deal. Two parents trying to agree on a schedule over their child or over multiple kids, even especially when the kids are different ages, right? You have a teenager and you have a little kid who's in preschool. This can get time consuming because there's so many little details. Now, people might say, luckily in Texas, for example, we have a standard possession order that kind of irons out the kinks, and lot of people just kind of accept the standard, have the every other weekend kind of thing,
Yeah,
your
we have the same.
holidays.
That's a
Yeah,
default in Canada too.
exactly. Yeah. However, when people go to mediation, they do have the opportunity to customize this thing, right? Pretty deep in many aspects and get something that really works for them and their children. So that's something that might definitely take more money out of court if you're having to go fight that out. Does your divorce or separation involve asset equalization? I say yes, in an approximate amount. Now, most of the time, I don't see too many million-dollar asset divorces. However, I have done
You
them
don't?
before.
You don't?
Well, in the US, I think that it depends on what jurisdiction you're talking about, and certainly in my Texas, divorces, you have, marriages where this kind of, asset equalization occurs. However, you also have a lot of marriages that have so much debt. It's
Yeah.
an upside down division where
Yeah.
you're literally trying to divide up who's going to keep what debt,
Mhm.
because the parties just never agreed on much.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, but how is it in Canada? In
Well,
your jurisdiction?
when you're just dealing with a single family home in Toronto,
Yeah.
you're dealing with minimum. Actually, it's more than that. It's more than $1 million. I don't know. I think the house values might be less in Texas, but
Yeah.
you're just dealing with a single family detached home. It's over $1 million.
Yeah, well, definitely, we don't have too many million-dollar homes here.
Oh,
This
really?
is why people say that Texas is a great place to live because you get
Mm,
a really good value for your dollars. One reason I actually moved to Houston a couple decades ago,
mhm,
because homes compared to Florida, South Florida particularly,
mhm.
such a difference. You
Yeah.
go to San Francisco in the California area, you go to Miami,
Mhm,
you're gonna
mhm.
get a big difference.
Yeah.
So, but the point is though, what you're trying to show, Thomas, is that there's a visual way of looking at the cost differential between going to court and going down just a litigation track and letting lawyers fight it out in litigation versus going to the mediation table. And in this case, to We Agree Mediators, and having a conflict resolution professional help you negotiate your differences. So
Yeah.
that's
When I
basically.
hand in hand with a family law lawyer and I'm the mediator, I kind of look at it as a med art
Mhm.
combination where
Yes.
basically, I deal with both, the more extended issues, visitation and asset allocation and things like that, and where the lawyer basically is takes that information take and goes to court issues, motions and hearings and
Mhm.
such. So
Yep.
basically, for me, that's the best model that I work with is kind of a med arbitration approach to it. This
Got it.
chart is a very black and white. Either
Sure.
you're dealing with a lawyer or you're dealing with a mediator. So, and like I said, it's based on a survey that was done in a Canadian magazine.
Understood. Well, it's helpful that it's on your website. It's in one place, and people who are interested can definitely go to weagreemediators.com and play around with the tool. And
Hmm.
so, thank you so much for sharing that. And so, this one doesn't really have AI built into it, the data set, right? So
Yes.
let's turn now to a little bit more about artificial intelligence. And I know, Thomas, that that's one of the other tools that you're working on, and it's we're going to be delving more into it in a number of weeks in the upcoming weeks. Um, where you're able to put statutes and information into it and have the bot pump out answers without you having to go sift and spend hours or even minutes, looking through data. You can just have a machine do it for you. And so we actually have something already in place that kind of does that in a different track, and that's where on instantmediators.com, for example, we've implemented the tool Frida AI to help not like sift through statutes, but just give people the basic information that they need instead of having to go through this entire website. They can just ask the bot. Okay. So I'd like to kind of test it out with you, and let me reset it. Okay, so Thomas, on my screen, I have instantmediators.com. And for people who don't know too much about this, instantmediators.com is the website where we are helping the public know that you do not have to live in limbo forever. You can get your conflict resolved, whether it's a family dispute or a civil issue. There's mediators on this list who can help you get to a settlement agreement very, very quickly. And so you can check out the different mediators who have already signed up all around the world. speak different languages. And so the point of instantmediators.com is to solve the problem of mediation delays, because in my experience, sometimes you're taking weeks, if not months, to get people to the mediation table. And that shouldn't need to happen, especially in a day where we have online calendars and mediators' calendars and availability is something people can get relatively easy. And so if people are interested, they can simply go and find a mediator by choosing the kind of practice area, the location, any key bio words that they want to use, and the languages that they want. So, but let's say you don't want to have to search the entire website, okay? And you would like some help and assistance. And Thomas, you're down here, right here, for example.
Hmm.
And if I go to the bot called Frida AI, so a tool that I've been developing,
Hmm.
I can just ask it. And Thomas, your AI tool is focusing more on, well, it's going to focus on a lot of things, but one of the things you can be focusing on is having the bot um, take in data such as statutes and then simplifying it and then giving people answers to their query, right?
It could be any data. It doesn't have to be statutes. For example, you could upload. I think like what you're doing right now in Texas, you could upload different court schedules. Different information about different courts. Anything in your jurisdiction that is specific to your area of practice. So basically, Excel file, a PDF file, a Word file,
Mhm.
anything. I just ask mediators to email me whatever file they want, and I will upload it. It's basically training AI
Right.
to customize the tool. So let's say, Mac, if you want to upload your Excel spreadsheet of court schedules, I know you have a lot of family law courts in
Yes.
different jurisdictions there. You could simply ask questions about scheduling, or which particular judge you're going to have for which court. Any data that you might have. The thing is, I have to physically upload it. I'm going to try to do it so the mediator could do it, but right now I just ask mediators to send whatever data they want, and I can upload, as long as it's not private information. It has to be public information. That's what I want to stress.
Exactly. Yeah. And so you'll show us more demos of that in the upcoming, weeks. So we're looking forward to that. On this tool, Frida.ai is very similar. And one of the things that I'd like to show you to demo it right now is just to put the question, who is Thomas Giglione? And since you are already on the website, and to be fair, we did feed it some information about you. However, the brains behind ChatGPT Turbo, which is what is running this, is able to take some of the parameters, some of the terms that we've placed onto the data set, and then extrapolate from that and give the end user, the website visitor, some really, really good information. So, who is Thomas Giulioni? And I let it think, and it's going to ask me, of course, to accept the terms and conditions, including my privacy rules, meaning I'm not going to put personal information into this.
Mac, if you
And I
could
can,
explain to the listeners,
sure,
how is it, we've all done this. We've always Googled our own name. How is this
correct.
different than Googling your own name? Because when you Google your own name, you'll get everything from your whole history of the internet since probably your kindergarten. So how is this different and a little safer
Exactly.
as far as privacy?
Exactly. So this is dealing with technology that we're starting to call LLM, right? Large language models, basically, where over time, these super machines are taking data that we humans have fed them, and they are eh, digesting answers that seem to speak and reason like a human being. Okay, this is why we call it artificial intelligence. Google is a search engine that indexes data across billions of websites in the world and pumps that information out. But then you kind of get a mess, right? You get a lot of data. Google's tried its best, and Bing, for example, has tried their best to try to give you information in categories that might make sense, but it's not intuitive. it's just information. Here, we're trying ChatGPT and other kinds of LLM model based, tools like this are trying to give you contextualized information, much like you would receive if you were having a conversation with another human being. And so you can literally keep on a conversation going with the tool because it's trying to reason artificially what it is that you might intend and then giving that information back to you. And so in this example, I asked it, who is Thomas Giglione? Now, if I went to Google and I just put your name, if it may find a Thomas Giglione who is not you, right? Because there may be other ones
Absolutely.
out there in the world. However, here, this information is only being pulled from this website specifically, instantmediators.com, from some parameters that we had put. So we, of course, we put your name, we put your location, we put your email, we put your website, we put that information in there, and then it does the rest of the work. And so, Thomas, here's the answer. And by the way, the reason it didn't ask me to accept the privacy terms is because I had done it earlier before we started the recording. But so anybody who's doing this, you're gonna see that privacy alert come up. In this instance, you didn't see it because of that fact. I did it earlier. So the answer is Thomas Giglione is an esteemed member of the team at Instant Mediators. And it goes on, it talks about what you specialize in, what you work in, business related conflicts, family law, including child support and custody issues and divorce. And you've done work in cryptocurrency and blockchain disputes.
Wow.
And you're not just in, you might be based in Canada, but you've built a reputation in remote mediations. And so you do mediations all around the world as long as it's on video. You've you speak multiple languages, and of course, you've been to Vietnam and Iran where you worked in this mediation field. And so, I mean, how much more do you need to say about you?
I'm
But
impressed. That's better than
yeah,
my LinkedIn profile. I want to copy and paste that.
yeah, knock yourself out. And the thing is, I am on my back end able to get the entire response, so I could typically email it to you, not a problem. But this is a sort of thing we're talking about where ChatGPT and LLM model based tools are able to save us so much time, and
Mhm.
people can get a real feel for who you are without having to simply Google or simply taking the time to go down and learn more about you. They can do this, and they can go read your bio themselves, and they can watch some videos of you and all that. But this takes saves so much time. That's why the um um F.r.i.d.a is asking people to just ask anything. Okay. And sometimes they will not know the answer. I like to analogize it like my regular dog. My actual dog's name is Frida. People who know me may know about Frida. Okay. My mixed terrier retriever. But like my real Frida, this F.r.i.d.a will fetch information. It will make boo boos, meaning it's going to make mistakes. It will talk to strangers, meaning don't put your personal information into it, obviously, because people who create the tool will be able to see some of the questions that are placed in. And it needs to be trained, just like my regular, live dog. This needs to be trained. You have to tell it. You have to tell it how far not to go, so you can prevent hallucinations, right? So there's just a whole lot in this whole new world, but this is just one example on this tool, and there's more to come, and we'll keep talking about this. But I'm definitely looking forward to your tool as well. So that was one example of how AI can be used to talk about mediators and promote mediators and help the public get to quick information really, really fast. But it's all right here at your fingertips. All right. So but for folks who want to connect with you, Thomas, and learn more about your projects over at um, We Agree Mediators, the best place for people to go would be to your website, weagreemediators.com, correct?
That's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay. All right, Thomas, why don't you close us out? What other,
Yeah. I'm
tips
not
and
sure,
tricks
Mr.
and
Mac.
ideas?
Yeah. If we didn't discuss this, but are you able to share your screen? with
Yeah,
me?
I'm sharing my screen. Go ahead.
Okay, okay. I mean, with me. Can I show my screen?
The tool that we're on, we're not doing Zoom, so therefore I
You
have to be the
cannot.
one to share it. But yeah, but
Okay,
tell me the thing.
okay, okay. Well, I'll walk you through this.
Sure.
I just want to say that we're definitely entering the era of the AI browser. So a
Yes.
lot of the, Google and all the browsers that are out there are
Yep.
integrating AI. And
Yep.
one that I particularly like is Edge. Edge is Microsoft Edge Copilot. So if you could go there,
Sure. And I
so
have it up.
basically, yeah. So it's basically on Edge. I like Edge because it's not as hungry as Chrome as far as energy. I'm the
Correct.
type of guy that has 10 tabs up in 5 minutes. So,
Yeah.
and it's not,
S-
it's a little
Yeah,
bit
I have been using Edge through the entire screen share, by the way. But it's my first time going to Bing, if that's what you meant.
um, Bing is basically Edge. But if you click on, you're on Edge now, right? So go to
Yes.
the chat. Go to the chat.
Let me go
The chat is
to
right up at the tab at the top.
oh, right here.
Yeah. Um, yeah. Yeah. So basically, this Bing and the um, the Edge platform are basically the same thing. So we could use that. My recommendations: go to Creative. Go to Creative, right?
Creative, creative.
You have three
Yep,
tabs there. You got more
got it.
creative, yeah. So I would recommend to be more creative because you want AI to be able to create more information. So basically, um, what you could do is you could um, actually this is not on Copilot, but it's okay, it doesn't matter. What you could do is, let's say, if you click on where there's the message chat below, you see there's like
Yep,
you see ask me anything, there's a little icon below that.
I'm ready.
Yeah, just below ask me anything, you see there's an icon below that.
Yep.
There, yeah, you could add, what you could do is take a screenshot. We don't have to go through this, I did this, but you could basically take a screenshot of your website. So for example, on my website, I have a list of the advantages and disadvantages of using a mediator.
Mhm.
So I could go, maybe I don't know, Mac, you could maybe do that if you have time to do that. You could take a screenshot of my
Mhm.
website.
Yes. So I wouldn't be able to do that right now just for the
Okay,
limitations. However, I had a screenshot ready from the Association for Conflict Resolution Houston,
and
uh,
do that. Yeah,
partly. So I'm gonna drag that here.
yeah, that's good. Good idea. So now you could ask AI anything about your website. Like, for example, what I can do is, can you improve this text? You could say, so you basically, you could ask any question about this website. You
Let
could
me ask
even
you
ask it, yeah, you could ask AI to translate it in any language. It will translate it. The translation's very good.
Mhm.
So you could ask questions. How can I improve the layout? A lot of people, you know, hire people for improving
Yeah.
user friendliness or mobile. How can you make this more? A lot of people, when they're working on their website, they're forgetting that most people are looking at websites through mobile. So how can I make this more mobile user friendly? And you could, if you're working on the website yourself, you could do it yourself if you're
Mhm.
using WordPress, or you could ask your web developer to make the changes. So this is
Yes.
basically, um, AI is looking at your website, um, and basically making whatever changes that you recommend. And you could give that to your web developer. You could try to make the changes yourself.
Yep. No, thank you so much, Thomas, for bringing attention to this. Microsoft put a lot of money into OpenAI, and so they are working very closely with ChatGPT. And so when they started putting GPT-4, the latest model into the browser Edge contains the search engine Bing, which now has Copilot, and that's what they're calling it, right? So Copilot does have all of the capabilities of GPT-4,
Yes.
and it's free.
Hmm.
Because right now it's costing but $20 a month for GPT Plus, which I
Hmm.
have. And I've
Hmm.
been thinking about canceling it and just using Copilot like you have been using it.
Yes.
Although there's some differences in some of the things that they'll do, but to me, I don't think that the cost is worth it. Obviously, everything that's free still comes at a price. Microsoft is paying millions for this, and
Yeah.
they are trying to get people hooked onto their product as a clear competition with Google.
Hmm.
But this is the future, right? It's not just Google anymore. It's not just put in, your name into Google and see what happens by accident. But now it's contextualized answers, responses that actually make sense, things
Hmm.
that will actually lead you to ask more questions and have a full blown conversation that can literally last for hours with a machine.
Hmm.
It's a whole new world, brave new
It
world,
is.
I'd say.
Can I just
Yeah,
share with you just a couple of minutes
please.
how I use this with our podcasts?
Yeah,
For the mediators that are involved in with your podcast, you might want to try to do this. Basically, I get the transcript of our podcast,
yeah.
and I ask AI, give me some quotes from this speaker at LMI podcast. And it would find quotes, and I didn't have to change anything, and it will find quotes, and I would put those on my social media and with links to the
Mhm,
podcast. So people could do that with, transcripts of their blog posts, parts of they could upload their blog post and would get quotes. So people, it's people are busy nowadays. They'll go on LinkedIn. They'll like to see a quote, and they want to know where it comes from. So it'll send a backlink to your podcast or to your blog to promote your blog. So basically, it's kind of the quotes kind of attract people instantly. When people want to know a little bit more where that quote came from, and it'll make them curious, as opposed to publishing a whole transcript or publishing a whole blog post.
yeah, absolutely. So that saves you time as the mediator who's producing this content, right, and to marketing yourself. But it also helps the public uh, because the more information you can get out there, that's succinct and to the point, quicker, then the more likely that the public is going to be able to consume it outright
Hmm.
and get the relevant information that they need.
Hmm.
So, yeah, you had shared this with me, and I think it's important if you can, one of these days, do it as a demo for helping us, share with other mediators. That would be great.
Hmm.
I think tomorrow, as I like to tell people, we have a Zoom chat where we're going to be talking 10 a.m. Central Time, 11 a.m. your time out in Toronto area. But if you are a mediator, or a lawyer, or if you're just a tech geek like we are,
Hmm.
definitely come on. You can always email team@lmipodcast.com to get yourself the Zoom link, and then we'll share it with you.
I'll be
Okay.
there.
All right, Thomas. And so until next time, let people know again the best way to get in contact with you, Thomas.
Just go to my website, weagreemediators.com, and yeah, send me a link, and we could discuss anything related to what we talked about today.
All right. And so I'm looking forward to seeing you tomorrow, Thomas. Take care, everybody. Until next time.